Today our topic is the nature of free will. Do we have it? This is a question that has puzzled humans for centuries. It is a question that touches on philosophy, religion, science, and even our daily lives. To understand free will, we must first ask what it means. Free will is the idea that we have the power to make our own choices. It is the belief that we are not controlled by fate, by God, or by the laws of physics. But is this true? Do we really have free will, or are our choices determined by factors outside our control? Let us explore this question step by step. First, let us think about what it means to have free will. Imagine you are standing in front of two paths. One path leads to a life of comfort and security, while the other leads to a life of adventure and uncertainty. You must choose one. If you have free will, you can make this choice based on your own desires, values, and reasoning. But if you do not have free will, your choice is already determined by forces you cannot control. For example, your genes, your upbringing, or even the laws of physics might decide for you. So, which is it? Are we free to choose? Or are our choices already made? Some people believe in determinism. Determinism is the idea that everything that happens is the result of prior causes. In other words, every event, including our thoughts and actions, is determined by what happened before. If determinism is true, then free will is an illusion. Our choices are not really ours. They are the result of a chain of causes and effects that started long before we were born. For example, if you choose to eat an apple instead of an orange, determinists would say that this choice was determined by your past experiences, your genetic preferences, and even the chemical reactions in your brain. You might feel like you made a free choice, but in reality, it was already decided. On the other hand, some people believe in libertarian free will. This is the idea that we have the power to make choices that are not determined by anything outside ourselves. According to this view, we are truly free to choose, and our choices are not just the result of prior causes. For example, if you choose to help a friend in need, this choice is not determined by your genes or your upbringing. It is a genuine act of free will, based on your own moral values and reasoning. But how can this be? If our choices are not determined by anything, then how do we make them? This is where things get complicated. One way to think about free will is to consider the role of consciousness. Consciousness is our awareness of ourselves and the world around us. It allows us to think, to reason, and to make decisions. If we are conscious, then we have the ability to reflect on our choices and to act according to our own values and desires. This suggests that free will is real, at least to some extent. However, science tells us that our brains are made up of neurons, which are controlled by chemical and electrical signals. These signals are governed by the laws of physics, which are deterministic. This means that our thoughts and actions are ultimately the result of physical processes in our brains. If this is true, then our sense of free will might be an illusion. Our brains might simply be following the laws of physics, and we might not have any real control over our choices. But wait, there's another possibility. Some philosophers and scientists believe in compatibilism. This is the idea that free will and determinism can coexist. According to compatibilists, we can have free will even if our choices are determined by prior causes. The key is to understand that free will does not mean being free from all influences. It means being free to act according to our own desires and values, even if those desires and values are shaped by our genes, our upbringing, and our environment. For example, if you choose to study hard for an exam, this choice might be influenced by your desire to succeed, your parents' expectations, and your past experiences. But as long as you are acting according to your own desires and values, you are exercising free will. So, where does this leave us? Do we have free will or not? The truth is, we do not have a definitive answer. The nature of free will is still mystery, and it is likely to remain so for a long time. However, this does not mean that the question is unimportant. In fact, it is one of the most important questions we can ask because it affects how we live our lives. If we believe in free will, we are more likely to take responsibility for our actions. We are more likely to believe that we can change our lives and achieve our goals. On the other hand, if we believe that our choices are determined by forces outside our control, we might feel powerless and resigned to our fate. But perhaps the answer lies somewhere in between. Perhaps we have a limited form of free will. We are not completely free, but we are not completely determined either. We are influenced by our genes, our upbringing, and our environment. But we also have the ability to reflect on our choices and to act according to our own values and desires. This means that we have some control over our lives, but we are also shaped by forces outside our control. So what does this mean for us in practical terms? How should we live our lives, knowing that the nature of free will is uncertain? Here are a few pieces of advice. First, do not use the idea of determinism as an excuse. Even if our choices are influenced by factors outside our control, we still have the ability to make choices. We can choose to work hard, to be kind, and to pursue our goals. Do not let the idea of determinism make you feel powerless. Second, take responsibility for your actions. Whether or not we have free will, we are still responsible for the choices we make. If we make good choices, we can take pride in them. If we make bad choices, we must accept the consequences and learn from them. Third, focus on what you can control. There are many things in life that are outside our control, such as the weather, the actions of others, and even some aspects of our own biology. But there are also many things that we can control, such as our attitudes, our efforts, and our responses to challenges. Focus on these things, and do not waste energy worrying about what you cannot change. Finally, embrace the uncertainty. The nature of free will is uncertain, and that is okay. Life is full of uncertainties, and we must learn to live with them. Instead of trying to find definitive answers, focus on living a good life, making good choices, and being the best version of yourself. In conclusion, the nature of free will is a complex and fascinating question. We do not have all the answers, but that does not mean we should stop asking the question. Whether we have free will or not, we still have the power to make choices, to take responsibility for our actions, and to live our lives with purpose and meaning. So, let us embrace the mystery, and let us strive to make the best choices we can, with the freedom we have.